20 times therapists treated a sociopath, according to Reddit. Number 20. I've worked with a few. The most disturbing one was an ex-military guy. He had served time in Iraq in the early 2000s, and he had killed in the line of duty. He always seemed a bit off, but the story he told me that was like, holy fuck, he's a sociopath, was when he told me about how he would do things like kill goats because he could get away with it, and that some families there depended on livestock to survive. He also told me about making starving children fight over candy. He talked about things like watching the kids fight to the death with rocks over the candy that he would throw on the ground. Awful, scary stuff. This person is currently a free man. Holy hell. The second was more of a stereotypical sociopath. He had been arrested for drug possession, and during the arrest had stabbed himself a few times while trying to stab the arresting officers. He was very sharp, but intentionally chose the life of a drug dealer because it was violent. I don't think he ever actually killed anybody, but he definitely abused people pretty horrifically. He dealt meth and enjoyed power tripping off messing with desperate addicts. He would make them do gross, painful, awful things to earn their fix. He was also the only antisocial person that I've ever met who had a weakened pain response. He once stabbed himself with a pen to prove to me that he didn't feel pain. And I mean like a legit buried the pen in his flesh, blood everywhere kind of stab. Yeah. Faith says she likes the thumbnail. You know what I like about Faith? Even though Faith is young, she's pretty cultured, and I can appreciate that. Most people don't know what the fuck Dr. Katz is, and it's because y'all young as hell. But back when TV used to run the world, and you know, they kept everybody nice and sedated that way, on Comedy Central there was a show called Dr. Katz that ran a little bit after home movies initially aired, and made the whole squiggle vision thing like relevant. And by relevant, I mean like it was just a thing that was in one show and people were like, eh. And then they used it in Dr. Katz. H. John Benjamin, who was also in the show Home Movies, was in this show, Dr. Katz, and played Benjamin Katz, the therapist's son. And you all know H. John Benjamin as Bob from Bob's Burgers and Archer from Archer. Wow. Talk about a sociopath. As we continue up the list, we arrive at number 19. Licensed marriage and family therapist. I've seen it mentioned that sociopaths don't come in for services, and this is true, but I've only seen some incredibly sociopathic behavior. It primarily comes up with husbands that I see. Men who were raised to think that their husband or household was their kingdom and everything in it was there to serve them. Men who can't comprehend that their wives or children have their own thoughts and feelings, and it takes about 10 minutes to tell them the difference between an angry spouse that doesn't know how to communicate and a person who genuinely has no ability or will to empathize with their partner. Best example was after this guy's wife had broken down crying in our third session about how he talked down to her. I asked them both what some goals for the therapy might be. His immediate response was, I want to work on understanding why my wife makes such stupid fucking decisions. She broke down crying again and ran out of the room. The guy just looked at me like, women, am I right? He had no idea that what he said was hurtful or that he wanted to hurt her. Either way, it was chilling to watch. Spoiler alert. She left him 2 weeks later after he threatened to shoot her if she left him. Yes, she's safe and much better now. The only tragedy here is that some of these hoes don't recognize who they're dealing with before they get married. And I'm not going to blame the women because some people really don't know what they're getting into. Some people wear masks up until they feel like they've secured their prize, at which point the real version of them comes out. But holy hell, man. Pretty disgusting stuff. For those of you who are watching this after the fact on YouTube, remember, YouTube has struck this channel, so I'm not live streaming a damn thing on YouTube anymore. I feel like I should make some kind of proper announcement, but who fucking cares? I mean, if you don't get it already, then I would assume that you're not the type of people who want to be in the streams. and that's totally fine. You watch this whenever it's convenient for you. I'm glad it has a place for you at all. Here's hoping you, whoever you are, listening whenever you're listening, had a great day and have an even better tomorrow. Because I know what it's like to not have things going the way that you want them to be going. But all the links are in the description, the Twitch, the Discord, all of that. Number 18, psych nurse here. A patient I gained a lot of trust with told me about this person he and 2 others tortured almost to death. I knew the case because it made the news and he went to jail for it. Went into details about the torture. It included making hundreds of cuts to the person's body and giving them an acidic bath. Okay. Well. Anyways, the story is that this person raped the neighborhood girl with Down syndrome and it was payback. Well, hey man, maybe he had it coming to him. I don't know. Yo, we're not going to go down that path. But holy shit, what are you doing raping Down syndrome girls? That's fucked up. I mean, any rape is terrible. But come on now. Some people just, you ever hear about somebody doing something and you just go, damn, that motherfucker don't believe in hell. You know what I mean? Wow. Holy fuck. This guy was in our ward for a month, continually threatening suicide if he was discharged. After weeks of knowing him and gaining some form of trust with me, he ended up admitting to me that he had made up the lie about the rape. Because he simply didn't like the guy because of an argument? Oh my God. It was probably drug related years back. Too long didn't read. A patient lied about a rape so that he can convince his friends to abduct and torture a man. Holy shit. What a scumbag. I don't think I've ever heard this kind of variation on the story before. Usually it's just the women who lie about being raped to get a posse together and get a guy fucked up. You know what I'm talking about? But holy shit, this was the dude that just didn't like the guy, and it was over a squabble on drugs, nigga. Like, it'd be one thing if it was over a hoe, because you're so young and sexless that you're putting pussy on a pedestal to the point where, oh man, what do you mean he's with her? No, he need to be with me. She didn't pay me attention. I have money. Why don't you like me? Number 17, therapists here. I've had several clients that were a bit extra. Can you not? The one that sticks out the most was during my work as an inpatient therapist, where a borderline HIV positive sex addicted client tried locking me in her room during her rounds and offering favors. Hey nigga, what does a borderline HIV positive sex addicted client mean? Which one is the borderline here? The HIV positive or the sex addicted? Because I would imagine you needed to have phrased this where an HIV positive borderline sex addicted client, but in fact you put HIV positive after borderline, so it's like, wait a minute. Okay, what's happening? Followed by a barrage of suicide comments after being rejected. Hey guys, do you want to live your life as a beta? Are you? Oh wow, do you know how I appreciate that? Games Chandler. What? Anyway, you on the path to becoming a beta cuck? Do you want people to think that in the future you might just go to a little place of education and shoot some things up? Then you need to start threatening girls with suicide if you don't get what you want from them. Okay, this goes to the guys too. So I'm a equal gender. Hey man, I was laughing with my grandma earlier today because I was making a Spotify account for her, and when it makes you make the Spotify account, for some reason it asks you your gender, and guess how many more options there were than 2? One too many, because it was like non-binary. I was like, what? And then we had a laugh. There are only 2 genders. As we travel up, oh man, I'm going to put this on YouTube, and that the bot's going to flag that as hate speech. How many strikes does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a band from YouTube pop? Let's find out. Oh my God, Mr. Owl. What the fuck? I The safe space that the internet's going to become is going to be a scary motherfucking place. I haven't done therapy in 2 months, and I don't think I'll stick to academia for now. Yeah, you gonna get it in there. Just wait. Number 16. My dad's a now semi-retired psychologist. I could have read that semi-retarded. It's only a couple letters away. Back in the 90s, he was working as a director of psychology for a large housing and treatment facility for several mentally disabled. The way that you're flinging around your tongue and sounding things out with your lips in your mouth sometimes, man. I wonder if I shouldn't just get a puppet like the one that I have and just start doing that. Should get the webcam out and just, read all of these as the puppet. You know what I mean? Can you imagine that? Training my hand to move with the time that I speak. Is that a talent? He wanted to get into some dating. No. He wanted to get into doing some therapy sessions for non-disabled folks on the side, just to mix things up and stretch out his professional wings a little bit. Our house had a home office wing with a separate entrance, so he decided to start seeing a few patients on the weekends. This plan lasted about 3 weeks before he realized that he'd made a terrible mistake. One of his patients, a very large gentleman, began visibly melting down during a session, pacing around the office and acting increasingly erratic. What? My dad's thoughts turned to the fact that his wife and 3 kids were now in the same house with a big dude who was clearly unstable. He slowly positioned himself by the door in case the guy tried to bolt. The guy noticed, pulled out a gun. Sacre bleu. And said, "Don't worry. If I wanted to hurt you or myself, I would have already used this by now." My dad utilized the same skills that he knew from working with violent patients at his main job to talk the guy into putting the gun down. He escorted him from the premises and never saw another patient at his home again. My mom was pissed. You bringing these crazy motherfuckers on into our house with our kids trying to earn some scratch on the side? You think you a real man? You would not be out there slinging that dope if you was a real man. That's a joke, YouTube. It's what I call a joke. How about that? I'm talking about. Oh boy, Mitch Run says, Kyle, Twitch will get you for that as well. Please be careful. Here's the thing. There is no being careful. Do you get what I'm saying? As hilarious as it is, me just reading these entries must be breaking some sort of rule. You know why? Because when the questions are asked, they elicit responses from real people, not something that's been churned through some kind of politically correct filter or some sort of like, oh, who's not offended by this thing? Oh, you're offended? Okay, we'll just erase it. You know what I mean? Reddit itself is heavily censored and filtered, but even Reddit understands that its appeal would be a freaking joke if they didn't at least let a couple of people slip through the cracks with their specific, let's call it intimate and colorful opinions. You know what I mean? Some of these are asking for a story. And what makes a story something from an individual as opposed to just something that you've heard a million times before is that a portion of them and their experience is bleeding through. And some of these experiences aren't safe for work or the type of thing that we could put on the 9 o'clock news for your grandparents. So that alone can get you in trouble. Now, where do I fall into this? I can't even react to half of this crap, because if it's already bad to begin with, any reaction that I have, unless it's, oh my God, that's so terrible, how deplorable. Can you imagine me reacting to everything like that? I don't know how long it would probably be funny initially, and then after a while it wouldn't be funny as hell. Maybe it would come back around and be funny again for a little bit. Oh my God. I'm going to try it for the next post. I'm that much of a ridiculous man. So number 15 on this list of what? 20 times therapists treated a sociopath. Boy, I need to get that nasal spray, which I should stop using, because I have a sneaking suspicion it's what's making my eye jump. But how can I know that? How can he know? What has he had? Number 15. Wow. I'm legitimately curious about this and looking forward to some serious answers. I provide ABA services to children, and the majority of them are on the spectrum, which is to say, autistic now. Come on, baby. Come on, baby. I mean, oh my God, that's so sad. One kid I have just rubs me the wrong way. Fuck you mean he rub you the wrong way?
Bazinga!
Okay, look. There's a disconnect that I just can't quite put my hands on. You know what I'm talking about? Well, it honestly could be the severity of his autism, but he is entirely too manipulative for comfort and totally knows more than he lets on. For example, one time he was throwing things at a teacher, so his pencil or whatever got taken away. He said sorry, got the pencil back, then said, "I can't believe you fell for that," and threw it at her again. I constantly waver on whether or not I'm working with a kid with ASD or a young sociopath. Bing bongin'. That's so sad, and you know, it's such a delicate situation, and we can't know in everybody's case, so there's no blanket solution for everything. Redundant thing that I say out loud that maybe other YouTubers that start their videos with "what is up guys" or "it's your boy" or "go like my fucking Facebook" or, you know, Instagram, Twitter, suck a dick. Who wants that? There's so much of that already. You know what I mean? So punish the few people who are looking for people to be real. And the comedy is, you know how when you go out and you're having a job interview or you're talking to somebody that you need to, for whatever reason, make a good impression on, they're getting a variation of you that's not the same variation that you would give maybe your best friend or other people that you're sitting on a couch enjoying something with, because that's a realer version of you, whereas the other version is fake. Now they're trying to make the way that everybody acts online the fake version. What the fuck? Well, if it isn't Mario Mystery Box, the plot thickens. Mario Mystery Box says he came here for the steamed hams. Delightfully devilish, Mario Mystery Box. Welcome to your second chance. As we travel up to number 14, I'm not a therapist, but my father is a full-blown sociopath. The type where when I showed him a list of sociopathic behavioral traits, or to around 10 people who know him, they all immediately responded with something along the lines of, "Holy shit, that's exactly like him." He has been in therapy for decades to deal with his anger issues. I witnessed how firsthand, incredibly well, he played his therapist. He managed to convince his therapist that several totally normal people in his life were mentally ill and ruining him. Even after he verbally abused his wife in front of both the therapists, his therapist still believed that he was a great guy/victim. The number one thing I have learned from this is that sociopaths often manipulate people by controlling perspectives. They constantly avoid the big picture and keep people focused on whatever small thing is happening at the moment. The best way to understand that they are doing harm to people is to take a step back and try to see patterns in their behavior, such as constantly making assertions about other people's sanity or lack thereof. Holy shit. Rhea says, was his therapist Harley Quinn? I'm kind of wondering where she is in the stream. You know what I'm talking about? Bing bong. Okay. Now, I need to find that little nasal spray. So grant me this moment. Masa Senpai says hello in the stream chat. Hello to you, Masa Senpai, and welcome to the 20 times that therapists treated a sociopath. However, we are 5 deep, and now we're at number 13, which makes us 6 deep. You son of a bitch. Damn it. not a therapist, but I did a lot of work with young guys as a mentor in my military career. I had a guy who wanted to talk to chaps, and I asked him why. He then went into graphic detail about how he had been raping women. The kicker was, he wasn't going in to confess or because he felt guilty. He wanted chaps to get him into the psych clinic because that was where his girlfriend was. Jesus. Well, as long as there's no kitty diddling on this list, I think we'll be fine. Number 12. This is a real feel-good list. I've been licensed as a therapist for going on 3 years now, but I've been seeing clients with an intern license for about 5 years. The vast majority of my clients have been on probation or parole and have a wide range of mental illnesses, including antisocial personality disorder, and my mentor described folks with ASPD like this. It's in the eyes. They've got shark eyes, cold, predatory, like they're staring right through you, looking for your weaknesses to exploit. Having worked with several people with that diagnosis and adolescent precursor conduct disorder, it's pretty damned accurate. People with ASPD are some of the most manipulative people around, and many of them enjoy it. Manipulating people is almost a game to them, well, a mini game to indulge in when they work on whatever else they're planning. Even if it's as simple as even if it's as simple as present as normal. And let me tell you, they're good at it. I don't like this though, because we all have to try and present ourselves as normal. You know what I mean? Because what normal is basic. What basic is fake. When we go out in public, we got to be a certain way. We got to act like everybody else. We got to keep our head down and not rustle feathers and not be too distinct or weird, because that attracts attention. And attention is okay in small doses, everything in moderation, but too much attention is definitely bad. You know, you don't want, like, can you imagine? Are you living in a house where you got like Alexa from Amazon and want all these other microphones? Like, your phone is bad enough and it's everywhere. I sit behind a live mic. I mean, here's the thing. There's most of the people that live their life and don't really worry about nothing, because as far as they're concerned, hey, you know, every day things are getting better all the time, right? But then there are those of us who are putting tape over our webcams because we know better. You know what I'm talking about? It's not just about the government, you know. It's just some of these tools exist to be used. And when the tools do get used, we're not going to blame the tools themselves, because people use those tools. It'd be like trying to blame a gun after a shooting at a school. Anyway, let me tell you, they're good at it. It's incredibly difficult to outplay someone with the diagnosis at their own game, because they've been playing it their entire lives, Berber. Since my clientele are court-ordered, most of the manipulation resolves around trying to cover up whatever else they're doing, abusing their domestic partner, abusing substances, etc. Some are more impulsive than others with the diagnosis, but they all have shark eyes. Okay. Did they all have teeth and hair as well? Holy crap. Jesus says, "This list make me realize I dated a sociopath. The bitch was crazy as fuck and even threatened to hang herself 2 times. Here's the thing, guys. You want to know why it's hard to diagnose most people as a sociopath? Is because we all at some point harbor sociopathic tendencies. We all have at some point acted in a way that was deliberately advantageous, because, you know, we could pick up on cues, we could figure things out. You know, imagine if you are going in for a job interview and you know what exactly they want to hear. You would then say what they want to hear. Is that manipulation? Maybe. You know what I mean? You go to a grocery store as a child and you want something real bad, but you know if you pick it up, your mommy ain't gonna get it, all right? But what if you pick up like that thing and then 5 other things? So that when she's like, oh, hell no, we putting these things back, and you like all of them? And she's like, well, just 3 of them then. Then you win. Because not only did you just want this one thing at the end of the day, you really didn't even want the one of those other things that you picked up, so you came away with a gain. That's manipulation. Are you a sociopath for that? Hell to the nah. You know what I mean? But let's talk about women. You're in a relationship with a woman, and she wants things from you that you're probably not just going to give unless you have to be properly stimulated. And even sex isn't a stimulation for that. She's going to resort to ways of making you more malleable. She's going to go for the throat. Do you get what I'm saying? So the bottom line is, all of us harbor and act upon sociopathic tendencies, but you know, does that make us a sociopath full-blooded, where we enjoy it, where we live for it, where it's never a switch that goes off? No, you know. But we as humans are kind of wired in most situations to take advantage if it is there, and some of us worse than others. Now, am I saying no that your ex wasn't a sociopath? No, but most women, most dudes in relationships, at some point, oh boy, at some point we're gonna be doing something that we otherwise might not do, because we're trying to get them that response. We're trying to get them to do something that we want them to do, and that's the bottom line. So, number 11, psychologist who works in a correctional setting here. That means a jail, guys. This word mean jail. Yes, I agree with the people who commented regarding DSM-5 criteria for ASPD. I've seen a lot of those. In regard to personal experiences, the people that make my stomach turn are the unrepentant sexual offenders. I think many sex offenders suffer from a treatable, albeit gross, disease. But I've met many who try to justify what they did. It happened to me, rationalize it, it's legal in other countries, and flat out blame the victim. Their parents should have taught him or her better. I won't debate these things with people, and I typically redirect, since there's no getting through to people like that. I also learned I've worked with a sociopath when I figured out I got hoodwinked after the fact. Like, an inmate has left my office and I think, oh wait, what a nice guy, and find out that he's really like from other inmates or staff. Man, I feel like there's just such a clear-cut line when it comes to certain sexual offenders, right? And the bottom line is, was it consensual? No. Then this is a crime, my nigga. This is a crime. Did they consent? Yes or no? Did they consent? Yes or no? Sometimes it's he said, she said, for real. Some girls, they totally want it with some dude, and then later they go, this dude raped me. And it's like, whoa, you know what I mean? Where you almost want to get everything in writing. Okay, when it comes to like sexual abuse of like minors, holy shit. I'm not like this is crazy because this is a personal thing you're hearing me say, but like when it's a 1, maybe even a 2-year difference, I don't say that it's right, but I feel like I can understand a bit better, you know? There are definitely people who are probably 1 or 2 years younger than whatever the legal age is that are passable. That when people get drunk in a bar, you can understand, like, if shit's flopping all over the place and maybe they have a figure that could pass to somebody older than them, cool. You know what I mean? Especially in countries where these girls are developing better. I'm looking at you, you know, Spanish. But the bottom line is, you kind of owe it to yourself not even to put yourself in these positions where you're abusing all of these substances where your mind ain't going to be right. You know what I'm talking about? If your mind's not going to be right and you're going to end up in these situations where I think it's rude to say, hey, you can't have a drink and go out and get, you know, have a good time because you might end up risking your life and then it will be your fault. I'm not saying it's your fault if something happens to you and you mix up with the wrong people just because you wanted to have a drink. But hey, man, can't you assign yourself a friend, like a designated driver, somebody that has your back, that ain't gonna be drinking? You know what I mean? Especially if you're a woman. Girls, make some girlfriends and go out together. Get yourself a nerdy dork girl that is not down with that drinking shit and who will have your back enough to not just let you roll out with some dude that is a stranger. You know what I'm talking about? Hey, I get it. Culture these days, man. People want to get on Twinder. Oh boy, that's a mixture of Tinder and Twitter. My lord. But the bottom line is, A lot of people want to jump on Tinder. They see a face they like and go, damn, look at that. And then they send them a message and go, hey, let me see that dick. And then they like, yeah, I like that. Let's get it on. You know what I'm talking about? And they see where things go or whatever. If they want to be fuck buddies and stay fuck buddies. I get it. But even that, as rude as it is to say, for me, seems a little bit better because at least these people are both of sound motherfucking mind. At least these people are both of sound mind. They're both sober. They both have their wits about them, and they are both electing to choose this other partner. When you get so gone that you don't know what the hell's going on, and maybe alcohol is a factor in the other person as well. Oh no, you're setting yourself up the fucking river. So be careful. That's all I'm just saying that to everybody here because I love you and I want to see this happen to you. Be careful. Be careful, okay? Anything can happen these days. Anything can happen. And you want to know the worst thing? And this is not something that a lot of the people who may or may not, feel like they are who they were when they were born as far as their gender is concerned, that they were assigned or whatever. But the bottom line is a lot of people these days, and I feel like transgender people really need to understand this. A lot of you are not upfront and straight up. You feel me? Like, yes, some of you are really cool, really dope, really honest, and real. So real that you easily knock out half of the dudes and half of the chicks as far as a cool personality. Like, you scale way higher than some of those motherfuckers because they don't even know how basic they are. But some of these transgenders, they literally just like when they transition. Thank you for the follow, Wazali. But when they transition, in their mind, they just are what they are now. So if somebody were to verbatim ask, yo, did you used to be this and then you had a surgery and you transitioned, they would lie or they would get defensive and dodge the question. And that's crazy. When somebody is specifically prompting you, they deserve that honesty. And especially if you're going to be entering into something intimate where you guys are going to be, getting inside one another and shit like this, maybe be honest because the building blocks of a relationship can't be lies. And it's crazy because I know some transgender people who live to trick. To like deceive, where they try to just get out there and trick a dude into going, this is what's up. And then when they finally reach the point where it's like, wait a minute, you know what I mean? And they're like, oh, you was liking it before. It's like, what are you doing? What are you thinking by not being upfront with what you are and who you are, my dude? Holy shit. There's nothing wrong with trying to pass. But when you're trying to trick, that's a deception. And whether or not you are genetically or, you know what I mean? It would be wrong for anybody. Deception on an initial scale is crazy. Just be real. Just be real. And for a long time, remember, people used to think I just hated transgender people. I don't hate transgender people. That's like me saying I hate kids. I don't hate kids. I hate bad kids. And that's something that is wrong with the parents. You know what I mean? Hannah and I go to a grocery store and there's a kid sliding up under the damn bathroom stall. What the fuck is wrong? What are you talking? Where are your parents? Where are your parents? I don't know who it was that sent me a Snapchat earlier today where it was a dude in a bathroom stall and a kid climbed under the stall and was talking to some dude. Like, it was like, holy shit, where are your parents? What if this was a pedophile? What if this dude just whipped, because the dude in the video that was recording was sitting down on the crapper, taking a crap, right? His pants down around his ankles. What if this dude just started jacking it? I don't give a shit if that's too real. The bottom line is, it was a possibility. And because we got parents out here that's so dick splashy, jizz licking, pointless in their existence, where they must not care you're not accompanying your fucking kid inside a bathroom, my dude. It's not just about abduction or gross things that could happen in there. The bathroom is perhaps one of the most unsanitary places in the fucking, like, ever. And you're letting your kid just roll around in there on his own to be touching whatever and stepping wherever and licking whatever. What is wrong? What is wrong with you? Listen, the world we live in is a scary fucking world, and you owe it to yourself to be careful. Because even the people that you think you know, you may not know as well as you think. The Garster, I appreciate your follow. Stay amazing, my man. But let's continue up this list, boy. 20 times therapists treat a sociopath, man. God damn. Even the bathrooms aren't safe. And not because I can go in any bathroom I want, because of what I feel like I am on the inside, bitch. I went there. He's got the joke. Snap, 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 snap. Number 11. Psychologist who works in a correctional facility here. Did I read this? Yes. Number 10. So, having worked on a crisis. Oh, you want to try that again? Why are you leaning so low to the mic? Get this over here. Alrighty. So, having worked on a crisis hotline and studied psychology, I'll be surprised if this thread gets a lot of legitimate answers for several reasons. Those diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder, or the DSM-5 diagnosis for sociopath, don't usually think there's anything wrong with them. Ergo, they don't come in for treatment. Number 2, if they are treated, it's usually by forensic scientists, which is a very narrow discipline, not a very large sample size to work from, or offering any juicy stories. Number 3, legally speaking, as long as identifying information is removed, therapists can talk about their clients. Ethically, it's more of a gray area. Even with anonymity of Reddit, it's better to err on the side of caution. Now Manny says, wow, I had a friend that would constantly throw around opportunities to random guys saying, I want you to take my virginity. She finally got someone to do her, and a case opened the next day claiming that she got raped because she wasn't herself. She lost the offer, she failed the drug tests, but I was one of the ones that were supposed to take mentioned virginity. Bobbed and weaved on that girl. My man, give me dap, give me that fist bump. You dodged that bullet. Jesus said, I'm a trick. Okay. Chaotic underneath. Protect yourself. Oh my God. Protect yourself, baby. Because people out here lying to themselves about like the way that some girls look just because of their age. And that's the bottom line. Like, I don't know what it takes for people to be factual or sincere about them. But some of these hoes, they out here looking like, damn, especially I grew up in Miami. Boy, oh boy, what a nightmare. The Garster says, hey Kyle, this is my first time on Twitch. Wow, Garster, you did it. Thank you. I appreciate you. This elevates you among many people who are too scared to pull the trigger on downloading the Twitch app. But hey, I'm recording this and uploading it to YouTube. And if they're willing to wait and still watch, then I love them. But the fun part? I know that there's probably a group of people that fall into a category where not only are they here, and not only do they just leave a window open on my Twitch stream so that like when the stream starts they can be in it, but they're also probably watching it on YouTube too, and that's fantastic. Wow, how can they do that? Wow, I appreciate you. I love you. With that being said, though, we're going through the last 9 on this one, and oh man, this one looks huge. Okay, brace yourself. It's gonna be throbbing. Not a therapist, but was counseling a student, and the student was female, 15 years old, smart, had a good amount of friends, and liked cutesy things. Here's something that she said to me that made me suspect something was really wrong with her. Keep in mind that I have no qualifications to diagnose someone. I just think she's abnormal. She was dating a boy. Told me that she had no feelings for him, but was dating him because he was useful and did things for her. Well, some people being real, what I'm talking about. She did nothing in return for him, and he was very sad about it. When I asked her if she felt bad for making him sad, she told me no. If I make him sad, that's his problem. Why do I have to care about his feelings? I can't feel what he feels. It doesn't affect me. When I asked her if she felt guilty for using him, she said no. He started hanging around me because he likes me. If he likes me, then he should make himself useful to me. What else is he good for? She had no concept of romantic affection, but that may have been inexcusable for a 15-year-old depending on the maturity level. I don't know, man. This shouts upbringing. Something's wrong here. She told me her friend's dog had died and she pretended to care because that's what she was supposed to do, but it was her friend's problem, and she didn't understand why she was supposed to feel anything about the situation. Where's this child's mother? And how much drugs is she on, and how much dick's she out here sucking? Because trust me, there aren't a lot of girls who make it all the way through life and have a really, really, really robotic like outlook that didn't have like a crazy loving mom. Even if they think that the lovey-dovey shit is cringeworthy and they distance themselves from it, it's not like their heart's icy as fuck. My man Jay Gussie hitting them with a little bit of that splooshy woos all over the juice on the thighs of the girl. You know what I'm talking about? When it's just so juicy. Slap a thigh up on that bitch. As we continue on this one, it says, she told me her friend's dog died and she pretended to care because that's what she was supposed to do. She told me that one of her teachers had told her friend to stay away from her because the teacher noticed that her facial expression often seemed fake and forced. She did not understand why this was an issue and asked me, doesn't everyone fake emotional reactions? Like if someone tells a joke, don't you pretend to laugh? It's true. Or if someone tells you someone died, don't you pretend to feel sorry for them? She asked me to explain to her what a genuine emotion felt like and what empathy felt like. After both explanations, she was completely confused and told me that she had no idea what I was describing and had never even suspected that everyone around her wasn't faking emotion and empathy just like she was. She left the conversation convinced that she was normal and everyone else was just weird. I want to meet this 15-year-old. I want to meet this 15-year-old. Beep, 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 beep. Mitron says, Kyle, I think you can apply to be an affiliate for that sweet subscription button now. Worth checking on that. I'll try. Are you sure it's now? Why not? Why now, do you think? Vanessa Love says, my biggest fear is having a child like that. Oh, Vanessa, you and all the other wannabe mommies. That's somebody subscribing on YouTube. Good for them. All you got to do is like take care of that kid, stay around, you know what I mean? Don't let it grow itself too hard and you'll be fine. Give it the space when it needs the space when it's old enough, but you can set the kid up to not suck, and that's the bottom line. If you're a good parent, you can set up a kid to not suck. Number 8, if this blows up, we'll see the sister post, Sociopaths of Reddit. When did your therapist see through you? Uh-oh. Somebody said, wouldn't mind seeing that. Oh my God. What? Number 7. This isn't exactly what you were asking, but a relative of mine was given an unofficial diagnosis of ASPD when she was younger. At the time, the doctors told her family that they didn't like to officially diagnose someone that was under 18. As a child, she was extremely manipulative and could go from acting very normal to being stone cold in the space of a moment. Her parents forced her to go to therapy, but as soon as she became an adult, she stopped. Her life now as an adult is pretty normal. She is still extremely manipulative, but is also better at hiding it, so she comes off as charming. She works a normal job, though she usually changes jobs by her own decision every year or two. Her boyfriends seem to only last as long as they are useful for whatever reason. I don't think she really has friends, though. Here's the thing. You want to know the scariest part about a lot of sociopaths is that, yes, the things that they are described as doing is sociopathic, but basically there are a lot of people who aren't sociopaths that act exactly like this. That's why this is all really creepy, you know? It's pretty creepy. I don't know what to say. Because I know for a fact that many of the mannerisms that are being described, you know, it's basically the phrase, you know, maybe all sociopaths are like this, but not all people that are like this are sociopaths. You know what I mean? Number 6, I worked in a residential substance abuse program. I don't take offense to most clients' behaviors. They were in the midst of their addiction and they're trying to get better for any number of motivators. Some of them self-referred themselves, family probation, parole, mandated where they're forced to come, shit like this. I've worked with convicted murderers who were remorseful and great to work with, so whatever, let's do some work together. But I'll speak of one person whom I believe to have antisocial personality disorder. After approximately 30 minutes talking to him during intake, I could tell how well he might be able to manipulate those he believes are dumber than him. He stated so much. He mimicked my language, posture, he spoke eloquently, and was charismatic as hell. But something was just off. I take note and move on. I needed more data. And he continued in the program, and it became apparent. Everything was someone or something else's fault. Failed relationships, his addiction, and particular drugs of choice, his inability to hold jobs, no accountability, no responsibility. He even blamed his brother for getting upset that he, my client, stabbed his brother. Why you mad, man? Why you mad? After my client had stolen his brother's car in the dead of night and drove it into a ditch and abandoned it. Wow. Then he lied about it and stabbed his brother for being annoying. He manipulated other clients and staff and was damn good at it, except for a few of us who could call him out in group sessions or through behavioral contracts. Oh my God. Oh my God. He was my individual client, and during a session I was challenging him because there were inconsistencies in something he shared. Then he finally came clean. He is HIV positive. I was aware of this. He contracted HIV by cheating on his partner or sharing a needle. He and the person he cheated with shared the needles. He had discovered he was HIV positive prior to his partner's return. As they were gone for extended periods of months, he got treatment and then didn't tell them at all. RX Gainer, thank you for the follow, my man. I appreciate you. Now, I'm flabbergasted here because there's really only one thing scarier to me than some of the terrible things we read, you know, consistently in these lists that will go unmentioned. But giving somebody AIDS and you know it, holy shit. That's like a slow death / torture that you don't even personally have to see to, you know? Some people could put a bullet in somebody's head. Some people could torture some people. But to inflict them with a life-changing disease, holy shit. Thank you, Mitch Runs, for hosting. You know, I appreciate that. Boy, still hadn't at the time, and I stopped working with him, and I believe they are still together. Additionally, he shared that he drugged his partner, whom had a family history of meth abuse and had never used so much as a joint for his own sexual pleasure, multiple times sober and high. The partner would have severe anxiety attacks after the sex acts, which he convinced them they were, and they believed him. You could see his whole fucking body light up in relaying these acts. He laughed and stated that he couldn't believe that they believed me and they trusted him. A complete disregard for others. Wow, this one's pretty intense. This is the one. This is the one where it's like, damn. This wasn't the only thing that he shared that made me want to hang a warning sign around the guy. He completed treatment by going through the motions and is now out in the community. He is young. I have a strong feeling that at some point he will move to even more malicious acts, and I wouldn't be surprised if he kills someone in the future. Oh my God. Mitron says, Kyle, you can check you fit all the criteria for the affiliate and click the bing bong. I thought I needed to get 50 people at one time, and I know I haven't done that yet, which breaks my heart, but it's not about a number. I'm just here so that some of you have something to be around for. You know what I'm talking about? Not calling you lonely, but I like sharing this with you, and hopefully you like being here to have it shared with you. But otherwise it'll be here even when you come back. Oh, so I guess I have 50 followers now. That's pretty cool. Thank you, my man. Thanks, Mitch Runs. Wow. Chaotic Unending Cosmos. You mean you weren't subscribed to me? Damn it. I got a cinnamon roll frappuccino from fucking Starbucks today. Of course I did. It was delicious. You know what I also got? Wow, K-Jung Twitch. My man, K-Jung. Anyway, I got a cinnamon roll frappuccino from Starbucks today, and I thought I'd try the chorizo because, I mean, it's Starbucks. It can't suck that hard. Within the first bite, I felt like spitting it out, so I did, right? And immediately I Googled, what the fuck is in chorizo? And it was pork. I don't eat pork. Pork makes my stomach turn. Like, I remember the day I stopped eating pork, and it was because, like, as a child, I was crazy about hot dogs. Loved hot dogs. You know, they're hot dogs are hot dogs. They're great. You cook a hot dog well, it's delicious. You know what I mean? One day I ate a hot dog and I just vomited, you know? And from then, like, I tried to eat pork hot dogs and, like, normal hot dogs after that, and I just couldn't do it. But I remember one day, for no reason, I tried a hot dog, and it was fucking delicious again. And I was with one of my Jamaican uncles, and him and I, we had these hot dogs. They were Hebrew national hot dogs. And I said, what's going on with these hot dogs? And he said, they're beef hot dogs. They're the only ones that I can eat because any non-beef hot dogs, they don't sit well with me. And I said, that's interesting, my man. My man, that is interesting. My man, that is interesting. My man. Whoa, I'm going to the grocery store. My man. Hebrew national beef. What the fuck Rhea mean she want pork? I got some pork for you, girl, but not the type you're thinking about. You know what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. As we continue up this list of what 20 times therapists treated a sociopath. You know you love that. That's a good thumbnail. This is a good thumbnail. This is pretty dope, you know? It sucks that I'm fairly good at this, but it doesn't matter because nobody cares. Maybe someday in the future. I had a really rocky start with starting these. I feel like if I had this kind of quality from the beginning, maybe I'd have a bigger audience. But in the beginning, I was kind of in a bad spot. The sound was terrible because of where I was. If you guys knew some of the stories about where I came from, oh my God. Well, the bottom line is this. Did somebody say, is that queen? Why would they say that? There's not like a real queen here. Sharpedo Senpai says, this is my first Twitch stream. That's not queen, you know? And that's dope. But let's continue. As we travel up the list of 20 times therapists treated a sociopath, we're at number 6 on this list. And oh my God, I just took a look at number 5. It's a motherfucking doozy. So buckle up, at least the list won't end immediately. Let's go. I work in a residential substance abuse program. I don't take offense to most clients' behaviors. They were in the midst of their addiction, and you have read this before. So as we travel up to number 5, which is the doozy that I was talking about, I don't like that he put the TLDR above, so let's just go ahead and read it. Foster care therapist here. This one is a roller coaster. If you say so, my man. The state requires foster youth to have therapy. Okay. Otherwise, I'm sure that she'd be one of the many who never get treatment because she had no idea anything was wrong with her. She's a teenage girl. She came into foster care purely for her own misbehavior. Only child, both of her parents had essentially disowned her after her repeated false claims that they abused her. And she disclosed horrific details that sounded straight out of Criminal Minds. In one case, it was the actual plot of a Criminal Minds episode that had aired 3 days before our session, which I knew because I had seen it. Hello, Lumalia. Thank you for the subscription, even though it's more of a follow on Twitter. I appreciate you. As we continue. Oh boy, she had been placed with a great foster family. The foster mom worked at an elementary school and the foster dad was older and on dialysis. Uh-oh. He was actually really sick, although it wasn't obvious at first. This part is important. There were 2 other teenage girls in the home as well, and our gal had stolen headphones from one of the girls and lied about it to the foster parents, even after the headphones were found in her possession. So the girl gets agitated to the point of the foster parents calling our agency for crisis services. We can hear this girl in the background of the call screaming. We get to the house. She's on the front lawn screaming that her foster dad raped her. literally laying in the lawn screaming, "He raped me, he raped me." So of course, a neighbor had called the police, who arrived shortly after. I sit down with her and the cop, and she proceeds to tell us that the foster dad grabbed her breast at the dinner table when it was just him and her. And then she got up and said no and walked back to her room, and he chased her to her room and forcibly held her down and raped her orally, anally, and vaginally. Thank God it's not real, because that would be a tick for these people playing bingo if there's anybody left. This poor sweet foster dad couldn't even walk the length of his house without losing his breath. There was literally no possible way that this was true. She declines a rape kit. Of course you do. Foster parents are inconsolable. We all know that this is untrue, but rules are rules, so we have to move all 3 girls that night. The law sucks. It was very difficult. So this girl goes to a different home. All is okay, right? Not even 12 hours later, the new foster parents find her with blood running down her arms. She's cut herself in a suicide attempt. The foster parents freak out. An ambulance is called, rush to the hospital. So I go out to the hospital. The case manager couldn't go, so I'm alone. The hospital was an hour and a half away from our office. We're in a rural area, so we're all very spread out. She's laying in the ER pretending to sleep. The foster mom tells me that she barely cut herself, but squeezed a bunch of blood out and rubbed it all over her arm to look worse than it was. Great. She leaves, so now it's just me and the girl. I'm frustrated. She is hurling insults at me. The nurses are giving me pity stares. I'm overweight, so everything was about how I'm fat. I'm too fat to be a good therapist. Thanks for your advice, sweetie. She gets evaluated by a hospital social worker for psych treatment and tells me that she's fine and just wants to go home, and that it was just overwhelming being raped by her foster dad. Barf. Okay? Social worker asked me, and I told her straight up that the girl was lying and that she was doing this for attention. So the girl gets angry at this, of course, and begins to scream again that I'm hitting her. We were in full view of the nurses the entire time, who clearly saw I was not hitting her. I did begin to get a little worried, because if she did report me to the licensing board or something, even if it was proved untrue, it would still be a major shit show for me. And I'm just sitting there staring at the nurses like, what the fuck? Why is this my life? Eventually the girl is medically cleared, and I am tasked with bringing her an hour and a half back to our office to find her another home. Why you? The girl catches wind of this and refuses to get into the car with me. I said, fine, I'll outwait you. 2 hours pass. I call the police. They can't do anything. 3 more hours pass. The girl says that she won't ride with me because she knows that I will lie and accuse her of doing something bad. Then she says she'll jump out of the car if she has to ride with me. Fine. 3 more hours pass. We've been in this ER for 11 fucking hours at this point. Finally, she agrees to go with me. We get to the car. She opens the door and bails out. We wait 2 more hours until she finally got sick of it and gets in the car. She then proceeds to spend the entire car ride saying the most hurtful things I've ever heard anyone say to anyone. She started by asking me if anyone had ever hurt me, because I seemed like I had been abused. Okay, she did have me on that one, but still, lucky guess. Oh no. It just got worse for me. When we got to the office, I could have kissed the ground. She ended up exiting foster care and going to live with her grandmother, the only family member who hadn't disowned her, because there was not a single foster home in the entire state willing to take her. Fuck the child welfare system. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Holy bing bong. Oh, to clarify some things, the 2 other girls were returned in under a week to the original foster parents. That's a happy ending, and that's kind of what I wanted. It just seemed like, initially, with her being a little bitch and saying that she was raped, it got the other 2 girls taken from that house, and that sucked to me. Holy shit. Imagine your foster kids, dude. That's literally like living the life of a dog. of a goddamn dog in this bitch. You treated me like a dog. I gave you the keys to the motherfucking king. I'm kidding. But listen, being treated like a dog that's like awaiting being put down if nobody comes to adopt you, that's what it's like. People don't adopt older kids. You know, they want their babies now. They want them cute little babies. And oh my God, to know that some psychopath little bitch could get these other kids driven away from a home that is supportive and welcoming and warm. And oh God, they could become something. That blows, dude. Wow. You know, this list was a lot more giving than I expected it to be. So I appreciate the list for that. Wow. Good job, everybody on Reddit. Good job. Give yourselves a round of applause. Wow. Everybody, you too, for being here. Wow. You're so great. Wow. Number 4. Not a therapist, a school psychologist. When talking to a student, he casually mentions how he keeps his parents in line by threatening to call ICE to have his mother undocumented deported. He doesn't care about his family in the least, and they have zero control over him. His 2 siblings are typically developed and are terrified of him. Wow. What the fuck? Somebody said, holy shit, if I threaten my dad might get sent back to Mexico, but I would 100% get sent to the ICU, where you belong. Somewhere you belong. Your dad's gonna whoop your ass and give you something to remember until you pass. All the kidney stones that he fucks you up so you're filled with. I love it. I love it. Some badass kids. Some badass kids in this list. This is not what we expected in this list, but there's some badass kids in this list. Number 3. If I see my therapist comment, I'm fucking done. I know you're here, Kelsey. Ha 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 ha. Bitch. Number 2. Oh man, this one's a doozy too. I used to work in a group home for little kids under 12 with severe behavioral problems and psychiatric issues. As a floor staff, my God, this is a run-on sentence, Nick. Let's start again. I used to work in a group home for little kids under 12 with severe behavior problems and psychiatric issues as a floor staff while I was in college. I don't want to see that many fucking commas in a goddamn, you know what I mean? You out here on that bullshit. Several of those kiddos had diagnosed ASPD, very popular in this thread, but I was always skeptical because that's a hell of a label to give a little kid. Excuse me. Then I met AP. Those are not his real initials, but this child was 6 years old and beautiful. I'm kidding. He was a perfectly behaved, but many of our residents had a honeymoon period of great and normal behavior for a couple weeks after intake, so we were just waiting for him to show his true colors, behavior-wise. His honeymoon period lasted 8 months. None of the staff knew why this kid was here. His dad wasn't in the picture, the mom was serving hard time, and foster care wasn't working out, which is why we had him. But we didn't have any issues with him at all during the 8 months. He was the perfect little boy. Then one day, he wasn't. I took the kids outside to ride bikes, and the second he was out the door, he ran to the backyard, grabbed a kitten, and crushed its head. The boys' bedrooms were in the basement of the house. They had windows that were on the ground levels outside, and he had seen the nest of kittens from his window. I was horrified, obviously, and brought all the kids inside. He calmly told our facilities manager that he had no idea what I was talking about and looked so confused that the manager questioned me, and I had to go get the dead cat. I was visibly upset, and AP just looked at me and grinned. That was the first "oh shit" moment of several. AP would instigate aggressive behavior to initiate a restraint. Once in a restraint, our procedure was to hold the child for 30 minutes. If they weren't calm at that point, the on-call nurse would give a booty dart, a shot of Benadryl to calm the kid down. AP loved needles, and offhandedly mentioned once that it was his goal to get one shot a day. In another incident, 2 staff had to escort AP into a secluded area because he was being very violent. During the transport, something happened. I think the metal door shut on him, and AP cut his foot substantially. We went to get the nurse, and when she came to help him, he was laughing, digging at his cut to make it bleed more, writing on the walls with the blood. Most of our kiddos were wards of the state, but AP's grandparents actually came and visited him. The other kids would be so jealous, but AP would quite convincingly act like he didn't know his grandparents, and then later he would taunt the others who never had visitors. When I left that job, he gave me a picture he drew of me. It was a typical little kid picture, but there was an X over the mouth, and the eyes were scribbled out. I asked him why he drew me that way, and he said,
"You don't deserve eyes because I don't like it when you see me. You don't deserve a mouth because you say things I don't like."
I found the picture. I still work with kids with severe behavior issues, psychiatric issues, severe disabilities. I love them. I have worked with hundreds during my career. I still think about AP. Soon after I left, they transferred him, at 7 years old now, to a more restrictive environment. And the last I heard, he was the facility's success story. The mom got clean and he's back home with her now, a perfect little angel. And he even comes back to the group home to give motivational talks to the other kids on how to behave. I truly hope that's true and his treatment was successful. But that one was scary. Scary little kid. And I doubt it. As we complete our list of 20 times therapists treated a sociopath, I am suddenly inclined to thank all of you wonderful people for being here in this stream right now. My gosh, can you fucking believe the types of people that you are? You're coming out here and sharing this with me. To everyone who is here right now, I do this every night at the same time, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Figure it out on Google if it's not your time zone, okay? Every night I do this. If you want to get notifications, you can join the Discord that I have. You can, I don't know, add me on Snapchat, CYAEL. I'm going to try to start sending out a little link on my story when I go live. And if you're not subscribed to me on YouTube, then you can go there and I have like a little timer of a countdown to remind you that I am streaming on Twitch. So as we finish this list of 20 times therapists treated a sociopath, at the top, the story reads as follows. They came into the hospital after making a suicide pact with someone and didn't follow through with it, and the other person did. Oh shit. They acted really broken up and said that they felt guilty about it and it seemed genuine. It was all an act. Later on during the inpatient stay, they made another suicide pact with another patient who then told us about it and said that the sociopath was pushing them to come up with a plan and pick a date to do it. Apparently they had done it with like 3 other people. And getting admitted to psych units was their way of finding vulnerable people to target. Holy shit. When it's number one for a reason, dude. What the fuck? What the fuck? You know, the scariest part of that is what a legal gray area it is, because somebody else is committing. You remember that one girl that got the guy to commit suicide so she could get the attention? Let's try to look that up right now. Girl gets boy to kill himself, and then in court, what's her name? Michelle Carter? Is that her? Oh my god, that's an ugly hoe. Ugly on the inside too. That's the worst part. Ugly on the inside too. No, it was this girl that I'm thinking about. So there's a new bitch. There's a new bitch that looks like she on Game of Thrones. Maybe that's the way she's trying to look, you know. Oh, I'm so sorry. But no, this other girl just wanted all the attention that she would get from people that are like, oh, you lost your boyfriend and shit like that. Girlfriend pushes young guy to suicide. Holy, shut up. I'm not trying to be here for you, ya punk motherfucker, dick slurping. You know what I mean? It's just a joke, YouTube. Chill, YouTube, chill. Okay. You've completed the path to affiliate. Sacre bleu. How do I get started? Maybe you shouldn't be doing this on stream, Kyle. This is right. Complete affiliate onboarding to enable. What the fuck? What do you want from me? Fine. Oh God, I'll do it later. I love you guys. Thank you for being here. I want to thank specifically my sponsors, you know, who are just dope. Can we get a visual representation of them? It should be on screen. No. Wow. I want to thank my sexy and lovely patrons as well. Can we get a sexy visualization of those guys as well? Should be on screen. No. Wow. Get a look at those guys. There's a lot of girls there. Wow. Makes me feel like I'm loved a little bit. Damn. I'm looking at that Ishmael. Give me some of that Ian all over my body. Touch my body, put me on the floor, wrestle me around, pray with me some more. Touch my body, oh you want my cup, I want to give you what I deserve. You're an idiot, Kyle. I could play a game right now, but for once I feel like I should just take it down a notch and let the stream end organically. It's up to you guys. I think at least 5 of you would have to decide that I need to play something though, because otherwise I should take it easy, I should rest, and then I think I plan to try and do a list around noon tomorrow. Oh no, wait, I'm gonna be busy. I don't know about that. I'll do a list before the nighttime list, probably around like 6 p.m. for me or something. So that'll be fun. Oh, I'll stop the YouTube recording now.